Hey, what's up, guys? You're listening to the It Takes a Village podcast. I'm Ashley, your host. This is where the struggles are real, the callings are heavy, the kids are sticky. We come together because it takes a village, and this is your tribe. Hey guys, what's up? I hope you're having an awesome summer so far. As you can tell, I'm on the verge of that oh so wonderful summer cold. So I'm trying my hardest to beat it, but let's muscle through my nasally voice today. And I wanted to talk to you about this journey that I've been sharing, mostly via YouTube, just because that is how I chose to document it and, take note of it, and sort of made a video diary of this experience for me to look back on and to remember every step of the way. Because turning 30 this year and doing this was really a big step for me. So let's cut to the chase. I found my biological father. What happened was I had known since I was in second grade, which is when my mother decided to tell me, my parents who were together then, and I thought they were my parents. Mind you, both of my parents were Caucasian, and I was deeply tan. And we lived in California, and so I was always tan, and they were always white. But I never, you just never question it. Like, if your parents say they are who they say they are, then they are. And so it was second grade when they were deciding to separate. And that is when my mother wanted to let me know, because she didn't want me to feel like, this person who she was separating from was leaving me. But in actuality, at second grade, finding out that the person you've been living with wasn't your father and that actually you've never met your father, I don't know which one was worse, but it hit me pretty hard, and I struggled with for a long time, because she only had, then when I was in second grade, I don't even think she gave me a name. She just told me that, someone. And then as I got older, I started to get some details here and there as I asked. It wasn't given, so it wasn't like freely talked about, but if I asked about it, I would get some details. And it really wasn't until this year that I was really, really curious, and I started asking more questions. And then I started searching, and I looked on Facebook, and I looked on Facebook, and I looked on Facebook, and I couldn't find anything until, like how somebody has a long name and they go by a shorter version of that name. So like sometimes Davids go by Dave, or Jonathan's go by John. Well, I woke up like at 5 o'clock one morning, and I decided, oh my gosh, I've never tried the short version of what my mom told me his name was. And so I searched it. I got up, I searched it, and I found somebody who was like, okay, this could be it. And then I looked through their Facebook photos, and I'm full on Facebook creeping right now. And I'm like, oh my gosh, 15 pictures in, I'm staring at myself in the one photo that I have that my mom finally gave me this year. I used to sneak peeks at it when I was in high school, and I remember trying to, find where my mom hid it just to look at it and to read the back, because my biological father had written on the back of this picture. So anyways, I see this picture, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And then my husband's like, you have to, we're in bed, and my husband's like, you have to message him. This doesn't just happen and then you walk away. You have to message him. And so I'm like, well, what do I say? I have no idea what to say. And so my husband gives me, this very simple message that doesn't give away who I am just yet, but gives them enough information that if they knew it, they would know, I would know that I was kind of on the right path. And anyway, so I get this response back that evening. So I send it because my husband made me send it. He's like, if you don't send it, I'm going to send it. So either way, a message was going to get sent, and I wanted to be the one to send it. So I hit send, go throughout the day. I'm trying not to freak out. I did a YouTube video on this because, after you send a message like this, there's a bajillion things going through my mind, all this what if stuff, right? And I'm trying to function, but how can you, you know? And so I did a YouTube video on what I felt like after I sent that message. So I don't remember because I recorded that like really in the moment. So if you're interested in watching that, you can head to my YouTube channel and see my thoughts. But I get a message back from him like at 9:00 that night. And he's like, yeah, like I asked him if he knew my mother. It was like 30 years ago, you know, a long time ago, whatever. And he's like, yeah, how's she doing? Is she doing good? You know, I haven't talked to her. And I'm like, yeah, she's doing really good. But I think that I have a reason to believe that you might be my biological father. That's like that's the very next message that I sent. And then he responded, and as soon as he saw it, I guess he responded when he saw it, because it wasn't until I was at my daughter's school play when I sent that message. So I'm in the chair, like watching my daughter, but also having a mini like panic attack in my seat. And so we get home, you know, we do all the things, and I'm trying to like focus on being a mom, and you know, and then like it wasn't until we were in bed, maybe like 10 or so or something, that he was like, call me now. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is for real. And so long story short, I know this has only been 6 minutes in, but I feel like I've been talking forever. You know, I called him, we talk on the phone, we're connecting the dots. He's talking about my mother, I'm talking about the facts that I know, and then we're putting pieces together, and we're like, wow, like this could really be for real. And so a couple weeks go by, we're like, you know, trying to figure stuff out, talking every day. He called me every day, just trying to get to know each other, trying to figure it all out. And then we decide, because I need security, I think he needed security. We needed all, like, mathematically, we needed all the possibilities of this, even though it matched up so well. Like, we needed there to be no doubt, especially because in a situation like this, when you take on somebody, everybody's going to ask, like, you know, well, what does she want? Or, you know, what does she want from you? Or, you know, are you sure this, you know, because there's just so many bad situations that and people always assume the worst, and, you know, drama makes the news. And so people love for, you know, to bring other people down. They don't want to see anything good happen sometimes, you know, just different circumstances. And so we wanted to kind of shut that down by like, okay, if we get a DNA test done, nobody can dispute the fact that I'm yours and you are mine. And if we aren't, then okay, then we can stop. Because like this process was for me very emotionally tolling. Like I was emotionally exhausted all the time because, you know, you're trying to give because you want the person to know you. And then you're so excited about what could be, or, you know, you have all these expectations and ideas and wishes, but at the same time, like you don't know yet. So you're kind of like putting up a guard, and you're trying to protect yourself, and you're trying to do all these things. You're trying to play devil's advocate, and you're trying to be hopeful, and it was just really exhausting for me. And so, you know, we get this test. He got his where he lived, and I got mine, and then we send it to the labs, and they put them together, you know, for us and match it all up. And so I don't think it even took like 7 days, but y'all, those 7 days were the longest ever. Like I was watching the tracking like almost every day, because they sent us a tracking number for when the packages got to both of us, when the test got to both of us, and then another tracking number for when that would alert us once the person sent it, and then let us know when it got to the lab. So I was like checking all the tracking numbers all the time, and then I had to stop because it was getting a little bit too much. And anyways, so it was probably like a week later, I get this email, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And this film is on YouTube as well, so if you want to see my initial reaction when I open the email, because I sit down in bed and I tell my husband, I think this is it. Like, we just happen to be in bed. And so then he starts filming, and, you know, I read it to myself, like I give myself the news, and then he's like, I think you should call him. And so I call him and give him the news, and it has just been the craziest thing, like straight out of a soap opera. I don't even know how to explain it. Like, I just don't even know. But needless to say, the tests did show that at like 99.99% sure that he is my biological father. So I found my birth father through Facebook, which is the craziest thing, which is also strange because I found my husband through Facebook, which my husband will have to come on and we'll have to talk about that. But man, so here I am today. It's like in May, or no, today's June 1st. And we started this journey on March 1st is when I reached out. We haven't met each other yet, but we do talk. I also found out that I have a brother who looks very like me. And it's just crazy. So I wanted to fill you guys in because I let you guys know everything. And I know that this journey will relate to a lot of you guys. I've gotten several messages from people saying that they're in the same situation and they've been trying to figure out whether or not to reach out. Or they have reached out, or, they reached out and they got a different answer, whatever. The thing about this situation is it can go both ways. So I was very fortunate in that my dad is a really nice guy. He's a good guy. He's, as far as I know, not an alcoholic or anything like that. I know he listens to my podcast, so I know he's probably laughing, but for some of you, like, that is a genuine concern. And so I just want to kind of open this up to the idea of, if you've been missing your father this whole time in your life, no doubt have you been missing out on a lot of things. There are a lot of things, a lot of mannerisms, a lot of choices, a lot of decisions that you've made so far that have contributed to the fact that you didn't have a father. You didn't have a good father figure in the home all the time. He wasn't there to check up on you, take you on daddy-daughter dates, to snuggle you, to show you what a man is supposed to be like or to treat you like. And that has a huge impact on you for sure. But if you've gone 30 years like me without a father, and then you're at this fork in the road of, I can either reach out to him or I can't, the question I want you to ask yourself, and the question that I asked myself, and it's going to be different for all of us, you guys. Like, I'm not judging you if you decide to stick with not reaching out. I'm just laying the groundwork here of, like, I just want you to ask yourself a few questions. That being, what are you going to lose by reaching out? So if he's an awful guy and all he wants from you is money, or he has an addiction, or he is in jail, or he, XYZ, da-da-da-da-da, you've already gone so far without him, so you're not losing anything. You're finding out and you're getting the validation that, okay, it's not just in my head. He does exist. And as weird as that sounds, it really was a thing for me. Like, being able to take this thought out of my mind, this person that could be, that I'm imagining, that I'm picturing in my head, it just feels so intangible, and it feels so like idea-ish, or like it doesn't feel real. And when I was able to see that this person is actually a real person, that they are like a real human being and they have skin, and I could put a face to the actual person, and it wasn't just something in my head, like concrete, it felt really good. That alone, it made me feel a little less crazy. It made me feel a little less like I was dreaming, or like I was in this la la land of, I don't know. So I think that, first of all, that'll help you a lot, is to really realize, hey, this person does exist. They're real. And then if you reach out, like I said, what are you going to lose? Is it going to disrupt your family? What's the worst thing that can happen? So I know that this is the thing that we talk about a lot in our home, and we go through it. It's like, well, if you don't, record a podcast episode today, what's the worst thing that can happen? Well, I'm going to let my audience down. There's not going to be an episode for that day or that week. Okay, but what then? Well, then I would just record another episode and apologize that it was late. Well, will the people still like you? Will they still listen? Yeah, they'll still listen, but, it'll just be late. So, I mean, these are the things that you can think of, is going through like, well, what if? Well, what if he responds and he's a jerk? Well, then you just hang up and you move along with your life and say, well, I'm glad he was missing for that long because I didn't need that negativity in my life. You know, my life, if your life was already hard, then it could have been harder with him there, you know? If for like me, your life was hard and you realize your life could have been so much better with your father figure there, that's a hard thing to swallow. But the fact of knowing that the hardness got you to where you are today, and now you get to move forward with something really great and something that can change your life in a positive way, like they can contribute to you now is better late than never. And it still sucks. Like, I'm going to tell you, it still sucks. I had to go through all those feelings and all the memories and all the things, especially talking about how his son grew up and, you know, hearing all the good things about how he was a father to him was like a 360 to me. You know, I was growing up in the worst areas. I got in all sorts of trouble. There was like I can't even share photos from high school. There was about a 2-year period where I can't share photos because I have none that are appropriate to share. Like, it was that crazy. And so when I think about you guys who are messaging me and who are saying, you know, I'm in the same situation, I wish I could just reach out. I wish I could, or somebody messaged me and told me that they know who they are on Facebook. They've already found them. They just haven't reached out. And so, you know, those are just some things I want you to think about is when it comes to anybody, whether it's your father, your biological, you know, uncle, your brother, your sister, like, these are your people. And when it comes time or the end of your time, are you going to look back and regret it? Are you going to wonder what if? Because then it's too late, right? You don't have any time to build a relationship or time to know. So even if it's bad, if you definitely know that your person that you're looking for is negative, if you know that they're in a bad spot, if you know that they're just going to want from you and they're not going to want to give, then, you know, make your best judgment call. That's all I'm saying. But at the same time, I don't want you guys to miss out on something, at least knowing. I don't know if closure is a good word because I think that we kind of believe in this weird idea of closure. And I'm not sure that that's like a valid feeling. I think that we would just really need to exercise the fact of facing our fears, being open to being hurt, knowing that, hey, like, I'm going to be hurt if this goes wrong, but I'm still going to be able to, like, a week from now, I'm going to continue to live. Like, I'm going to live my life despite this person. I'm going to continue to live and I'm going to be okay. And it's going to suck or it's going to be really great. So anyways, I got like really intense right there. But I just want you guys to know that I'm really grateful for all of your support through this process. I know that as I've been sharing this journey through the Facebook group, that It Takes a Village Tribe, and also on YouTube, I've gotten text messages and DMs and comments of people just how happy they are for me and how it's encouraged them to reach out and all these things. And so I'm really grateful for you guys. I hope that if you are going through something like this, that I can be a cheerleader for you. And if I'm struggling with it, then there's did I say that right? There's a good chance that one of you guys are struggling with it as well. Just like you, how you're going through things, I guarantee if you're going through there's somebody else going through it too. And that is why I'm such a big advocate of sharing our journeys, because being alone in these big things, these small things, these mom things, these wife things, these whatever things is really hard when you feel very isolated. And so I hope that by listening to this, you guys have gained something. I don't know what, but maybe it was something you needed. Maybe it was just that you learned something new about me. And I'm glad for that. I'm glad that you guys are getting to know me. I hope that I helped you, and always feel free to reach out. I'm so grateful for you guys. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you tune in next time. Bye. Hey guys, thanks for listening to the podcast. If there is something that you need me to cover, if you need me to talk about it, if you want me to share, let me know. Head on over to theashcarroll.com/contact, or you can go to the contact tab on theashcarroll.com and leave me an anonymous note, or you can share who you are with me if you want. Shoot me an anonymous note over there. Let me know the topic. Let me know the thing, and I will be sure to cover it for you.